Hey guys, and today I'm going to show you how to create a polymer clay minion from Despicable Me 2. This is going to be a two-part video, and this is the first video. The materials are, you're going to need a silver clay, a light brown tan clay, dark brown, white, black, a blue, and a yellow clay. You're also going to need a rolling pin, an x-acto knife, and a blade to cut your clay with. I'm not sure what this is called, but it's one of those round-tipped tools. An extruder, some pliers, and an eye pin. You're also going to need some TLS. Now let's get into the process. First, you're going to begin with some yellow clay that has been conditioned. You're going to want to roll it out into an oval shape that's rounded on all sides. So this is what you should get. Now we're going to take some yellow clay that we're going to condition so that way later when we need to make the arms it's already ready, and just put it to the side. Roll out your blue clay, and then we're going to cut out a circle, and this is going to be the beginning of his overalls. So place him on top of it and begin to roll it up over the bottom. You want to bring all of it to the back, which we're then going to cut off. As you can see, it's all here in the back, and then we're going to slice it off and then pinch it together and smooth it so we can get it as flat as possible. And this is what you should end up with. Now we're going to roll out the rest of our blue clay and cut out 2 small triangles. Take that triangle and lay it on top of your blue clay and roughly shape out the shape of an overall, which is pretty much a square going down into 2 points, and then trim the top down a little bit so that way it's shorter. So this is how the square is, and that's what it should look like, and we're going to make 2 of those. So place it on top and then just trace out your second one and trim it down as well. And then you're going to place it on the front of him, because the short one is going to be the front of his overalls, like this. And then we're going to start to blend down, so that way there's not a seam there in the front. And this is what it should look like. Now I'm going to trim down the back one a little bit, and we're going to place that on his back. Just like this. And then we're going to smooth that down again, just like we did in the front. So this is what you should have so far. A short one in the front and a much longer one in the back. Now we're going to roll out the blue clay, and we're going to cut out a thin strip. And then trim that down into a rectangle. Then cut out one really thin strip, put it on top, and cut out a second one, and then peel them apart so that way you know they're the same size. This is going to be his overall straps, so place it on the back, and then just roll it around to the front, from corner to corner. And just leave it there for now. Do the same with the other one. And then just press them down a little bit so that way you know they're stuck. Now we're going to take our x-acto knife and trim them down to the length that we have on the other side, because we want both overalls to be coming over about the same amount. So there's my front, and just make sure they're pressed down. And then here's the back. So that's what you should have so far. Now we're going to roll out a little bit more of the blue clay and cut out another square. This is going to be how we're going to make his pocket. So cut that square in half and punch it out. And then trim a little U shape out of the clay. And this is how his pocket's going to be made. Now just round it off and smooth the edges. And then we're going to stick it onto the front. So that's what you should have so far. So let's move him to the side and take our yellow clay so we can make his arms. Roll it out into a long snake, and you want this to be pretty thin. So then cut off the ends, cut it in half, and put them next to each other so you can make sure they're the same length. Now we have his two arms. What you're going to do is take one end and press it a little bit so that way we can make his shoulder. And do that to both of them. Then the part that we flattened, we're going to attach right under his overalls. So that way it looks like his arm is coming out from underneath it. And this is what you should have. Trim them down just so they're a little bit past the pockets and equal on both sides. Now we're going to roll our black clay out into a long snake. You want to trim off the ends and then cut off a small piece, put it next to each other, and cut it again. So that way they're both the same size. This is going to be his feet. So roll them into a ball and make them into an oval, and then press them on the bottom. And this is what you should wind up with. Now we're going to make his hands the same way. So cut out a smaller piece, and then do the same thing, putting them next to each other, and cutting them to be the same length. Now roll them into a little ball, and we're going to take our x-acto knife and press 2 dents into it, so that way we make 3 fingers. And this is going to be his hand. You want to do that to both gloves. So this is what you should wind up with. Now you're going to place them onto the arms, but make sure your arms are where you want them because you're not going to be able to move them after you place the hands. So just press them up against his arms and make sure they're secure to his body. Thanks so much for watching. This is the end of part 1. Please like, rate, comment, and subscribe.